Sup everyone, welcome back to Video Games Are Hard, episode 28. Today, we got someone real special. You may know him from his vocal work in the famous SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom history videos, and he's cemented his status among the speedrun legends in Ooh and Ah's Fetch-A-Fruit. We got smloader.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself, man?
I am okay. Frankly, a little bit terrified.
Oh boy, well don't worry, it's gonna be fine. We got Sid.
No, I'm not terrified of this. I'm terrified of something else. Would you like to know what?
What could it be?
First, I'd like to be introduced.
Yo, Sid, what's poppin'? You just showed up. What's up?
Thanks. smloader, take it away.
Hi, Sid.
Hey, how's it going, man?
So in like a month and some change, I'm going to Busan, South Korea.
Oh, it's pronounced Busan. Okay.
Yeah, it's so the B and the P sound in Korean are really close. So it's like an English B, but you like smack your lips a little bit more. So it's like Busan.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, I would always read it as bussin'. Like, yo,
Bussin'.
South Korea be bussin', yo.
Bro.
It's sometimes romanized with a P, but that's considered like archaic.
But yeah, you're moving there soon.
Yeah, it's in like a month. And I'm going to be teaching 1st through 9th graders, which actually they do sets of 3 years there. So 9th grade is part of their middle school. So it's 1st through 5th.
There's no kindergarten?
No, there's kindergarten. So like kindergarten and elementary, like none of that counts. So
right.
it's 1st through 5th.
It's glorified daycare.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, not for them. They like grind from the moment they're out of the womb.
Well, I was coloring turkeys in kindergarten. You know, that's the hard shit.
Yeah, and they're like the derivative of this curve.
Oh damn! In
X
first
equals
grade,
5.
That's crazy.
Well, I actually don't know quite the intensity, but I know that like the closer they get to high school, the more they like really put their noses to the grindstone when it comes to all of the stuff that's on their I forget what it's called, but it's like the SAT here, but like a trillion million billion times harder.
Mm-hmm.
Like
sure.
From American expatriates that have like administered the test, they've looked at some of the questions even for English, and they say like the questions on there are something that you would find like an English postgraduate talking about in their thesis versus like a college entrance exam. And so even though English isn't their primary language, like they study the absolute hell out of it. Can I cuss? Is that okay?
Oh yeah, that's fine. So
wait.
Go ahead, Sid. Go ahead.
So you're going to teach people in Korea what?
English.
Okay. That was you were gonna say. You said you were gonna teach them, and I was sitting there going like English is the like that's the thing.
Yeah.
Do you speak Korean?
No.
Okay.
It's weird, just like how few qualifications you actually need.
Okay.
So like I think largely the reason you don't need to know any Korean at all is because when they are at
because they know it.
Well,
the thing is, like, do the kids, do they have an expectation that you're gonna know Korean if they don't know English?
No, they are like forbidden from speaking Korean while they are in the school.
Oh,
damn, that's intense.
Oh,
and so like if they speak Korean, I think I have to like discipline them.
Oh god.
Oh.
You just gotta be like, I don't understand you. Get out.
Like I'd be like, shut up, bitch.
I don't know what you're saying.
I know you're shit talking me. Go stand in the hall.
It could be something totally innocent, and he's just saying "Have a nice day," and if you run into it a few times, and you're just like, "I know you're shit talking to me."
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, Loader's my favorite teacher." I'm like, "Bitch, get out."
I heard my name in that. I know you're talking trash. So you record like a wide range of grades, huh? 1 through 9.
Yeah, and the nice thing is because they like their education system is so intense compared to ours. Like even though they're 1st through 9th graders, so you'd think maybe some of them would just be like bubbly toddlers that like slam their head against the wall. That's not actually the case. Yeah, like we all were.
Sure.
And so their average level of English is enough to like hold a conversation.
And this is what you're afraid of.
I'm afraid of moving, like basically as far away as I possibly can, being by myself, and I'm also afraid of not being able to do anything while I'm there because of COVID. So like,
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
because I want to go, like, and I do want to teach.
Mm-hmm.
But like, if I go there and I can't do anything, that's gonna suck.
So has COVID drastically affected what this process of getting this position would have been, you think?
No. So I get it, and then I go there 2 weeks early, and then I'm holed up in the apartment that they provide for 2 weeks.
Right.
And then after that quarantine time, then I start training, and then it's like business as usual. But if... so it is interesting, though, because if the kids get COVID, like if one gets COVID, everyone... all of the kids get kicked out and have to be taught from home, but we all still teach from our classrooms at the school.
Okay.
I've
heard that rule set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's
also
kind of scuffed.
There they have it so if you get COVID, it's not like a go home and deal with it for 2 weeks kind of thing. It's they like impound you in the COVID hospital until you're treated. And I think they do like some studies on you as well, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
But sorry.
Go for it.
This kid that was in that I had heard of, I think he was maybe in 4th or 5th grade, was holed up in the COVID hospital, and he said it's like the most boring thing in the entire world.
I would imagine it's not that exciting.
Yeah. I'm so flabbergasted right now. So we did like a little bit of a pre-podcast conversation. We were talking about RuneScape. We were talking about Fetch a Fruit. We were talking a little bit about the SpongeBob, and then we start the podcast, and you're just like, I'm afraid of Korea. I'm afraid of moving
pressing.
to Korea.
It's depressing.
Well, it came out of nowhere. I was surprised, and I didn't know this was happening to you.
I knew it would come up at some point. I had this in my notes for sure.
I like to keep you on your toes, you know.
Well,
I don't want to be a run-of-the-mill like banal podcast guest.
Yes, all of our guests have been banal until you.
Yeah.
We're talking about bus in South Korea.
Yeah.
Teaching English. That sounds exciting.
Well, we can go for it.
Speaking of English and banal, you want to know a fun fact?
Sure.
I thought it was pronounced Banal until like a month ago.
Until a month ago?
Yeah. Well, because I've never heard it used in a sentence. I had only ever seen it.
Did you never watch any medical drama or anything?
No.
None of the scripts you read have ever had banal in it?
No, but it is a great word.
Well, especially if you pronounce it the other way.
I think saying banal is a great word. Yeah.
I think banal is a great word.
That's how it should be said.
So we can do the intro, kind of. We can who smloader is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How you two know each other? I've known smloader for about 6 years at this point.
All I know is that he knows enough English to teach people English.
Yeah. That's all your relationship is at this point.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, Loader and I, we go way back. We were roommates in college a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And well, first, he was just a random viewer of my stream, first of all. And then he's like, yo, I'm going to KState. Then I'm like, yo, I'm going to KState. And then we saw each other at KState, crazily enough. And then like a year later, we were like, oh, we'll be roommates. All right, cool, whatever.
It was so like if we really want to take the deep dive.
Yeah.
So my foray into speedrunning at first was looking up I think it was SM64 120 star record, you know,
that's a pretty famous one.
And then I think I saw, I don't remember if it was Majora's Mask or if it was Ocarina of Time any %, but I started following Narcissa and watched the 1810 live. And so from Ocarina of Time, I then heard about ZFG, who was the Hundo guy. And then ZFG one day hosted Trey, who was playing Sunshine. And I'm like, I like that game. I'll watch that.
Because ZFG would always raid world record holders, and Trey had it at that time.
Dude, ZFG and I were so close for a moment there. Like, he would always raid me. I would sometimes raid him, but it wouldn't do as much, obviously. So
That was when you had, like, I think basically every category.
Yeah, if it was back in 2015, I know I did.
4
Yeah.
But, so then I knew you were at KState because you kept wearing KState, like, hoodies and stuff. And because I had friends there, I think I knew what the dorms were like. So maybe it was a little stalkery, but, you know.
Well, you know, what are you going to do? With the internet, with the availability of that in the internet, what are you going to do?
Yeah. And then we met at the pancake feed, right?
Oh, yeah, the pancake feed.
That really stupid shit.
As is tradition here in Kansas, the pancake feed.
Perfect.
That was definitely the only pancake feed I went to.
Yeah.
And
it was like my second one, I think.
Then we hung out in your dorm because we actually like clicked instead of just like parasocial bullshit.
And I think that the main thing that we really clicked over was Mario Golf Toastal Tour.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time, other than I guess my brother, like playing Mario Golf Toastal Tour with someone of equal skill is one of the most fun things you can do.
Yeah, it's amazing. And there's like way too few people that know how to play the game.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it's pretty easy to pick up on a basic level and just sort of be decent. But having a little having a deeper grasp of the mechanics really makes it that much more interesting. So,
yeah,
it reminds me of then the ultimate evolution of that when we played with Blue Candy at that one GDQ and he sunk that hole in one and we were both like, "Oh my god!" And then he looks at us with a straight face and he's like, "That was a setup."
But the thing is, even with setups, that requires double frame perfect stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Blue Candy's nuts. So yeah, we bonded over Mario Golf. We did 3-player and 4-player ring attack, and I have like highlight videos of that on my channel. I think they're actually underrated. There was definitely some hilarious moments in that.
Dude, that one on Blooper Bay where I was playing as like Wario and Boo, and you were playing as the two that shot up the middle.
Yeah.
All of the shots with Wario were so fucking tilting. That was when I was screaming.
You mean the one that took us like an hour and a half for some reason?
Yeah.
Dude, we spent an hour and a half on the first like 12 ring attack things in that. And then the next hour and a half on a single level. For some reason, we just kept failing over and over again.
And
I don't know what was going on.
I think that was when we were making fun of Mr.
Hyrule Gamer.
Yeah, we're like, what kind of asshole gets upset at a children's video game?
Dude,
what a virgin loser.
If anyone watching this remembers the Mr. Hyrule Gamer saga, oh man, you remember old school speedrun content for sure. That was back in the days. There was a period, like pre-2017, pre-Summoning Salt, all this stuff, when Apollo Legend was like one of the OG content creators for speedrunning stuff. And it was like him along with Glad Jonas and a couple others. But as far as content creation scene for speedrunning, it was nothing like it was today. Like today, you go on YouTube, you search anything speedrun, like random flash game speedrun, you'll probably find something. Or like, typical thumbnail, dude looking hyped in the thumbnail. And it's like, okay, speedrun highlights for random ass game. You wouldn't have that back in the day, but like there were definitely some pioneers of it. And there was a critique of Mr. Hyrule Gamer with one of the first of that type of speedrun content where he was criticizing the fact that there's not enough content in speedrunning, or like making fun of speedrunners or something. I forget exactly what it was, but a lot of drama came from that. He's like, oh, this guy's shit talking speedrunning. He doesn't even do anything. I don't fully remember, but yeah, you in that Mario Golf playthrough, you definitely crack jokes about that a lot. So.
Well, I think too, someone was like making fun of me for being so mad, and that just like really set me over the edge to where like my joke and irony pedal was like fully to the metal.
Yeah, I think one of Mr. Hyrule's Gamer's points was that speedrunning is bad because they get so mad. And then you were like, I'm so mad because of this game right now.
I'm such a stupid loser idiot. Bitch,
Yeah.
baby. I can't believe I'm mad over this children's game right now.
Exactly. That's what all speedrunners are like, really. We're all like that. All rageaholics. But yeah, that's and then from there I guess we hung out like every now and then. And then we're like, oh, I guess we'll be roommates. And then I ditched my old roommate. So, yeah, there you go. And then we only roomed for like one semester, then you actually went to a different college.
Yeah.
More local.
I don't really know if that was the right decision. I feel like in some ways it was, and in other ways it wasn't. Because, like...
You got away from me. Which is one
Thank
positive.
God. Like, in terms of peers that I interacted with, like, I had way fewer.
Oh yeah, versus like a huge university. Like, there's like 25,000 people at KState.
Yeah, and at KState there were like a bunch of actually cool people that I could hang out with, like you and Nathan and Zach. And,
True.
Well, I won't keep like dumping real people's names into this, but
no, don't spoil Zach. Everyone's gonna know what Zach
Michael
is.
and
no,
and
not
Sven.
Michael. No, Sven.
Dude,
no,
dude, I fucking loved hanging out with Sven.
Don't dox my boy Sven like that. Come on.
But then so I went to the other university, and like basically all the kids there were like student athlete wannabes, so to speak. I mean, some of them were actually really good, but basically all of them were the like, I don't need to pay attention in class because I'm getting into the NFL or the NBA. And they were also like normie as hell and really boring, except for a couple of them. Like a couple of them were really cool, but like the ratio of cool people to shitty people was way lower.
It was whack.
Yeah, it was whack. That's the best way to put it.
That sounds pretty whack to me.
But my professors there, because the vast majority of their students didn't give a fuck, like, I could actually be friends with and talk to all the time the professors themselves.
Dope.
And so, like, if I wanted to talk more in depth about something we talked about in class, like, I don't really remember any specific examples, but I would always, like, especially if I disagreed with them, I would just go into their office afterwards and we'd have like discourse about it for like 2 hours. And
one adult to another.
Yeah. And it was clear to me too that they actually like really enjoyed that happening, because it was like a breath of fresh air for them out of the other kids who didn't care at all.
Oh yeah, I think that all professors love when people go to office hours. I never really did, but I'm sure they would have liked that if I did. So,
well, the thing was too is with office hours there, the office hours were like just a formality, where because nobody ever went to them.
Yeah, they're
So
too
if you just showed up,
they're too busy grinding to be in the NBA. They can't be showing up there.
Yeah, dude. But in that same breath that I say that, I'm pretty sure our football team, among like all college teams, period, not like the ones that actually get on TV, was like ranked 1 nationwide like 3 years in a row.
For, I'm assuming like whatever your division was.
I think, well, maybe that's how that works. I don't know.
What do they have, like the 2A, 3A, 4? I don't really understand that stuff, but
if you don't understand it, I don't understand.
I know
it
my high school was 6A, which I think is bigger than 7A, but I don't really know what that means.
I went to the prof during office hours to talk about the divisions, and, they were grinning ear to ear and super excited for all of my questions.
And ultimately, we determined that neither of us had any idea what it meant.
We determined that no one gives a shit, so we moved on and had a grand old time. But you graduated recently, I guess.
Yeah.
We're just going through the life of Loader.
The life of Loader.
Welcome to the Life of Loader podcast. We're starting with college.
It's funny at the end of that like last sentence that I said, I was just gonna make a cold, no segue at all transition over to RuneScape, but I guess we'll talk about me graduating first.
Did you wear a hat?
Yeah, I had the cool kid hat with honors or whatever. I forget what it's called. How like you get like the extra tassels and shit.
Oh yeah, I didn't have any of that fancy stuff.
I had all that shit. I was the big dick mofo.
Big dick energy hat extraordinaire.
What I was going to transition to, you're talking about like a cold, like no transition talk about RuneScape. I was going to talk about how I like we got to know each other not very well. We've been in calls together every so often since Discord became a thing. You and I, when the good people were more active, and the one thing, like, everybody knew you for your voice. And maybe we can get into this before we get into RuneScape.
Okay.
But and maybe transition better into RuneScape than no way. But I remember everybody just knew you for your voice, and I was just like, and it's funny for me because when I was 21 or 22, I was like very into my own voice. Like I would do the movie voice. Like, we've had conversations about this. Yeah. And like, I would do the movie voice stuff, and everybody being like, man, he's got a sick ass voice. And I was sitting there going like, fuck this guy. I hate this guy. And like down in the deepest part of my soul, I was always a nice guy to you. But in some part of me, I was just like, man, I want him to slip up.
I was the voice guy. There can't be two epic voice people. Come on.
Not that I was ever known as the voice guy on the internet.
Well, for any on your stream, you would do a lot more vocal inflections back in the day than you do now.
Yeah, like, I haven't done it in years, but like when you came into the fold, I was just like, "Fuck." And I remember, very specifically, like maybe we were in calls every so often, like the old good people with like Claire and Nice Windowsill and all those people, and like Huffle Your Puff. And I remember playing Overwatch. And I don't know who I was playing with. You might have been playing with us. I can't remember. But I remember we were in a call together, and you were reading not erotica, but like close. Yeah. And you were reading it like in your like deep not movie voice or anything. Just like very
I remember what you're talking about.
Was this the Kenny Cola fan fiction?
The Kenny Cola fan fiction.
Yeah, the Kenny Cola fan fiction.
Oh my god.
As a throwback.
I couldn't remember what exactly it was.
Yep.
But I just remember being in a call playing Overwatch and just listening to you and everybody fawning over like your voice, and I'm sitting there going like, "Fuck, okay, I lose." I at that point I threw in the towel, and that dark spot in the pit of my stomach, I don't know, not disappeared, but it became less prominent. I was just like, yeah, that's fine.
That was the exact point you stopped doing all the vocal stuff on stream. Like,
I quit.
I quit. I retired. I was going to talk normally from now on. Fuck it.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually feel the same way about whenever people with like sultry voices are introduced around me. I'm like, oh, they're not so hot. What's so special about this?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I don't know what it is. As far as I know, because I sometimes follow voice actors and stuff on Twitter and stuff, it just seems to me like voice people are really up in arms with each other. I don't know what it is. I get that vibe from them.
Everybody has a different vibe. I feel like smloader and I are way different voice vibes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And same with Trey. I think Trey has a great voice too.
I hate my voice.
Talking about specific.
I fucking hate my voice.
The other week, I just remember walking away from my computer doing impressions of how deep your voice is, and but
I remember
like
that too.
Everybody has their own like sphere, and but I remember like after you and Trey stopped being college roommates or whatever, you were just like, yeah, I'm gonna go try to get into radio, and I was just like, I never went to that level. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought about it. Like, we're doing a podcast now, but that's kind of like... there was one, like, dumb joke I read the other week. It's just like, oh, there's two things you need to record a podcast. A really nasally annoying voice and like, some way to record it. And that's it. And that's the two-pronged joke.
Recording is pretty important, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't really have anywhere to go with that, but your voice is what was the first thing that introduced me to you. Not Fetch a Fruit.
Wait, not Fetch a Fruit? That's what he's most known for. Yo. we can talk about that later, actually.
But yeah. What I wanted to transition into was the SpongeBob, the voiceover.
Okay. Well,
if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm okay with it. I respect it.
I have a few anecdotes I want to add, though. In that, I think that pursuing radio and like all of that crap, I think mostly it was because like I would do my voice stuff, which was 99% of the time just for screwing around. And like that's how I developed it in the first place.
Yeah.
Was just through screwing around and doing impressions of like the COD Zombies characters and shit like that, because I thought it was funny.
Wow.
My first one ever where I knew I was good at it is I impersonated Richtofen because I was mad that there wasn't a special voice line for getting max ammo and double points at like the same time. So I came up with one. I was like, "Ooh, we got the max ammo and the double points," and people were like, "Wow, was that you?"
Damn.
And so yeah, I did all that, and everyone's like, "Oh, you should go into this. You should do blah blah blah. You got a great voice for it."
You should be the next Arbys guy. He says we have the meats.
and so it's funny you say the Arbys guy, because he is like among like of current advertising strategies, he's like one of the most immediately recognizable to the brand. And I remember looking into this for my, I think like a final for my advertising class or something like that, because I looked into the voice industry and why, like what sells and what companies are looking for and all that. So like they're looking for young bucks who have a distinct voice, and when they get you, they want to keep you so you can help grow their like brand recognizability and all that. But I realized in going into radio, because I had been told so many times that I should do something like that, that first of all, I think radio is like largely an evil, shady, and soul-sucking business, because radio makes no money, so they cut every corner that they possibly can.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was also like, in terms of the songs they play, isn't there like some really shady stuff, pulling the strings behind which songs get played and stuff? On a different note, I guess. It's still radio related. I'm talking more like the music and the vocal stuff, I guess.
On the same note.
I think
music pun.
I think not from what I remember. I know that they can only play what they have the license to do, which it seemed like they did. Well, also like they maintain the illusion of like some asshole sitting in a booth picking the next song for you and all that, because they'll be like, "You're listening to whatever the fuck, 99 kg country."
It's all just like automated the whole way. Like no one's doing anything.
Yeah, nobody's there. It's just it's a cue that says like play song 1, and then play like bumper where it's like, "You're listening to Stephen Loader on Penis Pump Radio. Up
Oh my
next
God,
we've
you should
got
be on
Elton
radio."
John." Oh my God, maybe I should. And then then like, well, that's one of the shady things that they do, because if they don't do that, people don't listen at all. Like if they don't maintain the illusion of someone sitting in there, then it feels like cold and impersonal.
Yeah,
which
it's
it
like
really
I can listen to my own music for free. Like I don't need those. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's like a conspiracy theory, but I think like in a YouTube video or something that like literally the Mafia or something is behind which songs get played.
I don't
know if that's
know
still
anything
true.
about
Dude,
that.
I saw that YouTube video too.
Did you the same one? Yo.
Yeah, I saw that one.
See, I don't know if that was a thing just decades ago or still happening, but I'm sure there's some shady stuff there happening.
I have no idea.
Well,
Yeah, the Mafia wants me to listen to Driver's License by Olivia Rodrigo for the 7 millionth time.
They want you to hear the same things over and over again.
maybe the Mafia's agenda is to like so normalize the general like music taste that they can just continue to produce like the same mumble rap album over and over and over again and launder their money through it.
Ooh.
It's something like that. I think money's involved somehow. Somewhere.
But you think money's involved?
I think someone makes money from all this. They don't just make music for the fun of it.
Okay.
Okay.
So how did radio go, Loader?
Yeah, where I was going with that was
Yeah.
I hated like actually doing shit for the radio. Because like the one ad that we did where I would argue far and away I was the star was submitted for a reward, or an award rather, and I don't think I was credited, and I think it may have won, and I don't think I received any of the prize.
What the hell?
Oh.
That's messed
like,
up.
I realized that I hate not having like creative direction when I do that kind of thing, because I've only ever done it to screw around. So like when I do my impressions, if I feel like it's wrong, I can just do it a different way, right? But then one of the, I think the only commercial, or a commercial as in I received payment for it and was directed by a like commissioner
Director?
to do it this way, was an ad for a water heater company on Fiverr. And I thought
you should do Fiverr stuff, yeah. That could be your little side hustle. Easy.
Yeah.
Dude.
You should do Fiverr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought my first take was awesome. And then they're like, do everything different. And then I thought my second one sucked. And then they're like, okay, that's better. And then
No, make it like a little bit worse. Okay. Let's do it again.
Like the whole transaction was so soul sucking too, because it's like there was no. So it was, when I think of the arts, I think of like old shit where you had like literally the patrons of the arts, where like you had the rich motherfucker who's like, I want you to make this portrait of me in oil paints, and I'll sit there for like 20 hours. And then like it's a human connection where like, yes, a shitload of money is involved, but they're like, I want you to do it because I think that you're good at the art, not like you are a quote talent that is available to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so I hated doing that. And now where I'm going with this into the SpongeBob thing.
Oh yeah, SpongeBob, that's right.
The SpongeBob documentary was actually really fun to work on. And one of the... Well, it felt like it was my project despite it not being that way, because Shift wanted to give me like as much creative license as possible, where sometimes I would do something weird, and out of stubbornness I'd be like, it's fine that way, but then eventually he would convince me and I would see that he was right. But it didn't feel like I need you to do this different, like I am not accepting this. He's like, I think you could do it better. And then usually he was right.
That's such a better way to say it.
Yeah. That's the beauty of YouTube, is that you can sort of just do things whichever way you want, and you can sort of just creatively do things in a way that you may not even think of at first. And you're like, oh, fuck it, I'll just try it, whatever.
And the same went in the other direction too, because he had me help him. He had me like vet all of the editing, especially for the funny stuff, to be like, do you think that this cut or this transition is fast enough for X effect that we're going for? So like,
oh wow, he really went in depth.
It was usually only for like the really funny segments, where we were designing them to be funny instead of just like inserting a joke every now and then. Like the one that we worked on probably the longest for the first one was the cruise boosting fuck yeah part of the first one.
The cruise boosting part was so hilarious.
And so funny story on that one. This is your behind the scenes look into the development of that. Was actually that whole thing was us trying to come up with how we're going to talk about cruise boosting. And then I was like, what if we're like, and then I said everything that is in that, just being like as stupid as I possibly could. And he's like, write that down. That's it. We're doing that.
That's amazing. Yeah, you knew that to introduce this notorious mechanic that's sort of like a meme at this point, you had to do something epic. So
yeah. And so I just started screaming and being like an ape.
Didn't we name our podcast that we talked about the SpongeBob documentary? Didn't we call it Cruise Boosting F Yeah? Or like one of
it was something with cruise boosting. I forget what it was.
I think it was F Yeah, because we had to remove fuck because it was a YouTube title.
Right, you can't say fuck in the YouTube title. Or in the first minute of the video itself, vocally. Yeah. So
because like after the documentary, the first part of the documentary dropped, we watched it and we like talked about it. And I remember whatever. I remember what I had like on my second monitor during that conversation for some reason. But yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all right. And so when we were putting together the like video to go with what I had said, because I think what I said did not change at all. I also think I did it in one take. Like, he's like, okay, record that right now, and we're going with that. So then I did it, and we went with that. And we're just constantly thinking of what's like the most over the top funny thing that we could find. And so the one that was the most serendipitous is I wanted the space shuttle launch, and so we just happened to find I think it was royalty free in some way. Like it was licensed
stock
for
footage.
Yeah, but it just so happened that the smoke plume that came immediately after the takeoff like vaguely resembled a boner. And so like, because that was the euphemism we were going for there, is like it'll give you a boner so powerful it's like a rocket ship taking off.
Don't you just love those happy little accidents when you're working on something and things like that just pop up? Like, oh yeah, boner, perfect.
Yeah.
Just what I wanted in that part.
And similarly in the second part, my pet project in the second part was the Vsauce spoof. Like,
I always love a good Vsauce spoof.
I largely directed that one, like creatively at least. And I think it was my decision to get Josh to be the actor for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, recording that and getting it to happen is one of the most, like, mind-numbing and simultaneously, like, magical experiences I've ever had. So, like, I think Josh had just got his green screen from Shift, and, like, his setup for his camera was, like, extremely scuffed. Like, it was sitting in between two holes of a milk crate. And I think we ended up adding, like, a couple of game cases underneath it. And I think his air conditioning was broken. So we had, like, a limited time, and he was, like, sweating his ass off and really uncomfortable the whole time. And so I don't know if he had any prior, like, acting experience, but he would keep, like, stumbling over his words, understandably so, and like not quite getting the delivery, the Michael Stevens like doppelganger effect that we wanted.
Yeah.
And then on the final take, I swear to God, it was like he went into like acting Super Saiyan mode. Like he
Wow.
immediately hit everything in exactly the tone we wanted, like all at once in the very last take. It was like Michael Stevens like punched through the top of his head and emerged from like the Josh cocoon.
That's crazy. Also, when we say Josh, we're talking outrageous Josh, right?
Yeah, outrageous Josh, the Jack Runner of
Famous
fame
Jack Runner.
and sex appeal.
Yes.
So yeah, the SpongeBob videos were really fun to work on. I actually got to be creative, and I got to help with pretty much all of the creative direction, whether it be the video editing itself or the music choice for a lot of the pieces. Like
yeah, I remember you guys in the Discord that I was also in, just always collaborating on every little thing. Like, oh, should I make this part funnier? Yes. Funny is good.
Yes.
Then, I don't see why not. I enjoyed having my cameo in those videos as well. That was fun.
Speaking of your cameo, I think it's the Ace Attorney 1 pre-trial music that starts with your cameo was my choice. And everyone's... I specifically remember going through the comments and being like, the Ace Attorney... Seeing people say over and over again, like, the Ace Attorney music for the Trey cameo was perfect.
That's one of my favorite parts of, like, putting in... So, not random, but just sort of fitting songs from different OSTs in a video is people getting the reference, being like, oh yeah, that game, let's go. I don't know, it's always fun to see those comments. And like, obviously choosing music, there's an art to it to just like,
yeah.
I love having the availability of video game soundtrack music as opposed to just royalty-free garbage. Because there's so many good video game soundtracks out there that you can use totally copyright free, and it's pretty amazing if you like know where to look and stuff.
But like the I don't remember if it was the any percent or the 120 Shines video, but where you asked me for the music help and we used Shotgun Kiss for the...
I think it was 80% video because you were actually rooming with me at that time.
Yeah. That was for the Gelato Beach skip, like record grab bag time.
And I remember there was a section, I think originally when I introduced Chibi, I was going to use the Mario Kart Double Dash Baby Park music. And you're like... I'm like, I think this is kind of goofy, don't you agree? You're like, yeah. So I think I changed that. But yeah, it is definitely fun to like bounce ideas off each other occasionally.
How did you and Shift end up like collaborating?
So, Trey was like a Shift head for
we were good friends with Shift for a while for sure. Like,
and then
always talking.
Because Trey was like a Shift follower when he had like 20 viewers.
Yeah, I was an OG.
And so Shift knew of Trey, so Trey would watch Shift and Shift would watch Trey. And Shift would watch Trey while I was his roommate. And so he got familiar with me, and then we hung out at a GDQ. And I guess like I got to a point where like both the Fetch a Fruit shit and my voice like preceded me. And so then he had the idea when he wanted to make them of having me work on it too, because he thought that I was both like funny in the creative department and also able, and it just kind of worked out that way.
Cool.
I definitely can't like maintain that marketing myself and keeping up the image that I did when I was the Fetch a Fruit spearhead anymore. Like, I've been actively avoiding using social media and all that shit for a couple of years now, and I've
noticed that takes some resolve.
It has been totally amazing. Like, because I thought about it, and this is what gave me the conviction to do it. And it's mostly Twitter, because I wasn't on anything else to begin with. I thought about it, and it's like, what kind of posts do I see on Twitter? And it's either like dumb shit that I don't care about at all, where it's like, going to get my hair cut today. Went to the doctor's office and my knee-jerk reaction didn't work.
For a second. I got to cut in and say, like, I think when I first used Twitter, I would occasionally use it to just post random life update stuff. And then I don't even know when exactly it first happened, but some year, I don't know, probably 2018, maybe 2019, it just hit me that it's like, no one cares about, like, why would I, like, what's the point of giving life updates on here? Like, who gives a shit? Yeah. So I pretty much just stopped doing that entirely. I just try to use it to, if I think of something really hilarious that deserves sharing, I'll do it, or just tweeting streams out. But other than that, I failed to the point in that, so.
Yeah, so it was that principle, and then I thought about the other things. So it's either dumb shit I don't care about at all, or it's funny stuff like memes or good tweets like Trey says he posts outside of his stream announcements. And then there's like people being really, really fucking sad. Then there's people posting like insane achievements where it's like, I lost 80 pounds, or like, I made $400,000 this year. And
I'm getting married.
Yeah, I'm getting married. I had my 12th kid.
That's like the classic
president.
That's the classic Facebook thing. That's like all it is.
Yeah.
Well, and so I thought about it in terms of those things, and it's like, when I see people being sad, that makes me sad. And then when I see people achieving like insane shit,
it makes me sad.
It also makes me sad.
Man, how come people can't just achieve neutral stuff all the time?
Well, they do. They just don't post about it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And so then it's like literally everything about it except for the funny stuff is like a net loss. And people send me the funny shit anyway, because I'm like, I have friends who want to share things with me, so I don't need to actually look for myself.
But don't you want to be one of the friends that submits some of the funny stuff? Just like, oh, I found this for you guys. Keep sending me funny stuff.
Nope.
No? All right.
You're a receiver, not a giver of memes.
Yeah. I have acknowledged that I am like the end point where like information goes to die.
Because you're not going to find it yourself. Oh, no.
It's like the last raid of a raid train on Twitch, where you're just kind of sitting there going like, I'm not going to raid anybody. It's like, but 7 people raided you. It's like, okay, well, no. You're all just going to fizzle out and go watch XQC.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Mizkif or something.
Yeah, XQC is the end point of Twitch.
Yeah.
He doesn't owe anyone anything. You just end up there at some point. So, or you'll see him like making his own reaction video to something you could have just watched the original video of.
Oh, he's reacting to Hell's Kitchen? Awesome.
Do you want to watch this Hell's Kitchen video or the XQC reaction of it? You know, you got your options. So.
Yeah, that's what you did with the Dream Dream's apology. It's just like, oh, okay, do you want the actual apology or do you want XQC's reaction? I was just like,
it's a serious question.
I was just like, I guess XQC's reaction.
It might make it slightly less boring. So
it's the only time you've ever suggested it. I was just like, what? Okay, sure, whatever. I'll take it.
But yeah, dude, I respect your decision to forego Twitter and stuff. For some reason, I think my brain's lying to me, saying that I have to be on it every day. Even though, because like,
are you on it every day?
Pretty much, yeah. I'll always check it. I don't know why. Oftentimes, yeah, it is the stuff you were just talking about, like sad shit, amazing accomplishment shit.
Yeah.
Or just, oh, the CDC says that you workers should kill yourselves for the economy. Woo! And then, it's just like,
woo!
It's just ridiculous stuff on there. And yet I still always check it. I never managed to break free of that cycle, I guess.
Like, what's funny is that, like, Loader talking about that, I'm sitting there going, like, I don't really browse Twitter anymore. Like, I don't sit on my... I just bought a new, like, computer and everything, and it took me 4 days to realize that I hadn't even set up, like, being able to look at Twitter on this computer. And I was just like, oh, yeah, I guess I should set that up. And then I set it up, posted a tweet, and then closed it. And then, like, I don't even scroll through my Twitter anymore. And that's my only active social media. So I've been kind of doing that without even really thinking about it. So that's kind of nice.
See, I think the thing is for me is that it's my main source of news. And I want to always stay updated with what's happening in the overall speedrun. That's like the number one place to find general speedrun community updates is Twitter.
See,
I feel like, oh, I'm out of the loop if I don't see this. I got to see it.
That's why I didn't see anything about the Panda Global GameCube controllers.
Oh, yeah. Because that's why I always see the news stuff that we talk about on the podcast. Boom.
Well, because I was the news guy before, and just like, oh, there's new news. And then you're just like, oh, here's these controllers. You've heard about them for sure. And I'm sitting there going like, nope, not a shot. And then
fun fact, speaking of those controllers really quickly, they actually had to, I think, discontinue them for the near future.
Because their supplier in China.
Yeah, the supplier was having issues, like with everything.
Yeah.
So they had to refund everyone's money, all like the $1.5 million or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess the fact that I never put in any money never really mattered. So
they were saying that eventually they'll like get back to it.
Like, of course.
Because when you linked it to me, I was just like, oh, they got cease and desisted. And
it's
just like, oh, their supplier in China. I'm like, oh,
no,
okay,
that would
better.
suck. If Nintendo shut that operation down, that would suck so much.
I think GameCube like controller patents are gone. Like, I don't think they can cease and desist anymore.
Nintendo will find a way.
Yeah, but it's like how, you know, like the retro, it's not retro Tink, but like the retro, like 6-slot, like, Sega Genesis, NES, SNES, like bullshit knockoff consoles you can buy. Like, they physically cannot stop those because the patents for the cartridge readers are up.
Oh.
And that's why like you only see those with really old shit. Is because like they can't make knockoff PS2s yet because I don't know that the PS2 disc reader was proprietary, but like the BIOS probably was proprietary, and so the
BIOS? Did you say BIOS?
Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
The BIOS.
BIOS, it's like the same.
I was just fascinated. Sorry, I always say BIOS.
I usually say BIOS.
BIOS? I've never heard that before.
I say BIOS. I've never heard anybody say it out loud, so I'm fascinated. I'm Banal. I'm Banal over this.
I'm Banal.
Well, I'm malignant towards BIOS. So.
God, I'm just getting Banaled right now.
That's crazy.
Well, whatever the fuck it's called. I'm pretty sure it was
Banal
proprietary.
like a Pokemon name?
I don't
Banal?
Oh, no, I think it's Bayonet. Bayonet? I don't know. Banal?
Bayonetta.
Bayonetta? That's not a Pokemon.
Bayonetta the Pokemon.
Every time we say Banal, I can't help but imagine this.
Dude, we were roommates when like having the bee emoji and everything was like the peak. It was peak bee emoji. So bee emoji anal.
I know it's like a total departure from subject and it's not about games at all, but should we talk about the Woodchip?
Oh, sure, why not?
Because I feel like the Woodchip was like a once in a lifetime story.
I don't even know if there's a story with this, but yeah, go ahead.
You know what the story is.
Let me appreciate this. We're 50 minutes in. We haven't talked about games.
This is crazy.
I appreciate this.
I am all for it. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Continue with the Woodchip story.
See, okay. I know what the Woodchip is. I don't like what story. Is there much of a story to it?
Well, so I don't remember exactly what we called it, but did we just call it the shortcut?
You said this Woodchip is worth its weight in gold. And I said, I agree.
Well, so I think you lacked the perspective that I had of having to live in that place with my car like a minimum of a mile away all the time.
Big. Yeah, the parking pass you had, it was like a mile away.
Yeah, so, okay, for those uninitiated, because we can't totally talk about this.
Yeah,
we can't totally talk about
the call.
This inside story between the two of us without explaining some things. So, when Trey and I became roommates, he moved to the dorm that I had been in since I started freshman year there. And so, when you're...
what year is this?
I think it was 2017 because it was the same year the 80% history came out quota.
Well, I meant like you said since freshman year. How long have you been there?
I think I had been there. This was in my.
Was that your sophomore
year?
Yeah, it was your sophomore year, my junior. No, it was my senior year.
Yeah, because I think I lived with Zach for 2 semesters, and I was only there for 3, so it must have been my third one. Okay, so yeah, I was a sophomore. So I had lived a whole year with my car being like a minimum of a mile away. Because the campus is in like the middle of all the dorms, and then the parking lots are like far flung to the corners of buttfuck Egypt.
Unless you have like a really good parking pass.
Yeah,
dude, a mile is so far away.
It wasn't a mile. It was more like a half mile, probably.
It felt like a mile, especially if I just wanted to go to fucking McDonald's.
I would sometimes literally drive you to your car. It was that ridiculous.
Because I had so much shit to carry.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame you.
Wait, why was your car closer?
So that's where the story comes in.
Okay,
where he lacks the perspective.
Okay,
because upperclassmen. So, like, underclassmen get what's called an O parking pass, and so they have...
you're a fresh...
So there was the O pass, and there was the GM pass as well.
Yeah, but GM was for, like, OGs.
It was the Grandmaster pass.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it means something else.
Tetris, the Grandmaster parking
the
pass.
Grand Bastard.
The Grand Bastard pass. There we go. The GB.
The GB.
But yeah, the underclassmen passes... were the only ones you had access to when you were underclassmen, and the closest parking lot was like really small and had the closest parking lot was really small, was full like all the time, and was still like a half mile away. But then,
I like the idea, I like the idea that he got tripped up by, and there were cars
there were cars in it.
And there were cars in it. Sorry. Continue.
So
I'm here to help.
The second closest one was all the way across the campus, which was like fine if you had a bike. But I had like a tiny sedan. Oh, I had a bike too, but if I was going home for the weekend, I couldn't like leave my bike out there. Well, I probably could have in retrospect.
You know what is a good story is the bike story. Remember that? When we drove your bike to Walmart.
Talk about the Woodchip story.
Sorry, the Woodchip, yeah.
When we drove my bike to Walmart.
Remember when we got like that emoji bike lock?
Oh yeah, that was at like the end times.
Yeah, you're right.
What are you guys talking
about?
We don't
have to get into that.
What the fuck are you guys talking about?
So Trey had like the bomb parking pass, like The tits, the booty, and the
grand
butthole.
bomb.
Yeah, see, I was the big boy senior. I had the good parking pass.
And so his parking pass relative to our dorm was you could walk out of our dorm room, down the hallway, down a staircase, out a door, and then like 50 feet away was his car in the parking lot. And like
it was really nice.
In the amount of time that we would usually leave, his spot would almost always still be there. Usually because we would leave at like true DJ hours where no one was awake anyway. But, so like transitioning into that lifestyle of being able to leave and actually do things was insane. But the door that we would go out of to get to his car was like, by the rules, exit only.
Yes,
like,
you couldn't. This door was locked from the outside
because it was a like security thing where everyone who went in had to go through the front door. But the front door was like a huge trek all the way around the building because we basically exited like the back right, and the front door was in like the front left, and it's a huge building. And so
yeah, I'm getting the idea of where the wood chip.
So there was
lines in
this one wood chip that was like perfectly sized that we could put at the foot of the door that would keep it just barely open. And so we could get in the car and go leave and do what we want. And then when we opened the door again, we could just kick the wood chip into the room and it looked like normal debris on the floor because no one ever cleaned in that staircase.
Yeah,
like
the door, like it looked like it was closed, but it was just barely peeked open. And we could just go through there from the outside.
I just like the idea of you walking by this pile of debris and being like, "That's the thing that we love. That's that one piece.
Yep.
That one piece of garbage right there. That's so valuable."
That has saved us so much walking. It's crazy.
So I should say it was not originally part of the debris pile inside. We opened the door and we're like, "Oh shit! If we let it close, we're not getting back in." So he was holding it, and I was desperately looking for something that wasn't like egregiously obvious. And I found that perfect wood chip.
It was like a cubicle wood chip too. It was so weird.
Yeah, or I think it was like a
it was just like some chunk of wood.
Yeah, but it was perfect.
It was like
to
a
hold
door
the door
stopper.
Open. Yeah, but it was an incognito door stopper.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so then after like the 15th time we had used it, I picked it up and like held it in front of me in admiration and looked at him and said, "This thing is worth its weight in gold." But then one day, somebody found us out and removed the wood chip.
We got busted.
No.
And
How'd
we were
you get
never
busted?
Well, nobody knew specifically that it was us, but they
got
saw
expelled.
like the usage of the wood chip because we came back and the door was closed and the wood chip was gone.
What time of day was this?
It was, like super late at night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And,
eventually they were catching on to our scheme, and that door, each time we come back to it, it'd just be closed. It's like, what like self-righteous person is like on the lookout, make sure this door is always locked? It's like, no one's going through here anyway, what the hell?
Dude, that was the one beer kid that had to cheer on the volleyball team.
Our idea, we have like an idea of the generic college kid going out for drinking exactly one beer, because if you drink 1.01, you might pass out.
He'll be too tipsy for class tomorrow, dude.
Yeah.
And he has to go like cheer on the volleyball team and the interim soccer league.
Yeah,
because if he's not there, they'll lose.
All his free time is spent cheering on the volleyball team and getting tipsy from one beer and
don't forget playing volleyball in that like really shitty volleyball court out in front of the other dorm.
Yeah. All right, but I think we can move on to video games.
Anyway,
there was a bike story too.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
My bike was like all fucked up, so then we got a new one.
Woo! All right.
There's the story.
But no, there was some crazy thing with like trying to fit it in the car or something. It was weird.
Yeah, because we both had small sedans, and we had to shove it in your trunk, and then I think we took the tire off. That's it. It's a short story.
You had to keep your bike there overnight or something, so you bought the cheapest bike lock, and it was covered in emojis.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And then I still actually have that bike lock. I have that bike lock to this day.
I have my the other bike lock that I actually used as well, I think. And then what ended up happening is when I left KState, I just left the shitty bike there.
Okay, Actually, actual last college story, I promise.
Is it the futon?
So you left the futon, like enormous, like couch-sized futon in our dorm room. And I'm like, what do I do with this? Like when I leave, I can't take this with me. And you're like, just like throw it in a dump or something. I don't know. We don't need it. So when I'm rooming alone after Loader left after the first semester, which was amazing. I loved having the whole giant room to myself, by the way. That was sick. He just left this big ass futon like in the corner of the room, heavy too. Like it was hard to move this thing. And so my idea to get rid of it, because we were on like the 7th floor, there was no easy way to like take this down to a dump or something. It was so high up. My big brain idea towards the end of the semester, coming into finals week or something, I secret agent, I don't know, moved the futon. Like I folded it up, had it like, because it could fold up and be like totally flat and like sort of almost reaching the ceiling in a way. And so I like snuck this big ass futon out the door, which it was no easy feat to maneuver this thing, by the way. I snuck it around the corners so in the center of the hallway, because it was like a really nice dorm, there was a mini area to hang out in. And then further down the hallway, there was like the main hangout area. But like, there was a hangout area in the middle of the hallway. So I snuck it into this tiny little hangout area, set it up again, put it in the side of the wall, and acted like, yeah, that couch was always there the whole time. I don't know, guys. That couch was always there. What are you talking about? So I might have been the potential cause of a Mandela effect on someone. Because they're like, wait, I remember this couch being here. What the hell?
It's been there the whole time.
I bet that I have a theory that if I went back to that dorm right now, that couch would still be sitting there. And it doesn't belong to the school or anything. It's just from smloader, and I had to get rid of it somehow. So like, here's your couch. Fuck it. So put it out here.
We left. So there was that other study room like directly adjacent to it.
Yeah.
We left my TV stand in there, as if it was a little table that always belonged in it.
Yeah. So that's how you get rid of stuff. You just set it up somewhere as if it was always there.
As if it should be there forever.
And to be fair, it fit pretty nicely there. They could have used that couch. So
yeah. It looked like it belonged. I remember you sending me a picture of it and laughing my ass off.
Like, this couch is always here, right? Totally. Okay, so smloader, boom, cold turkey. What is your earliest gaming memory ever? Go.
Earliest gaming memory is playing, I think, either Mario 64 or Ocarina of Time. And when I would play Ocarina of Time, I would play on my dad's save that already like had everything, and I would just fuck around.
Damn, that's epic.
I actually saw a video of me recently when I was like 3, and my mom was having me read a book, and in the background I was playing Super Mario 64 on Wet Dry World.
Ah, dope.
Wow.
Was the video camera able to pick it up?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
And like I could tell from the sound that was where it was. Because like there was swimming and the so it had to be that, you know.
Yeah, unmistakable. Yeah, exactly.
Wet dry. That's the one with all the things you touch to raise the water level, right?
Yeah. And in the video, I had the water all the way up.
That's the level that has like the conspiracy theories of like the dark energy, whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
That's so weird to me.
The negative emotional area or whatever.
Yeah, were you feeling negative emotional auras from that level as a 3-year-old?
I did always think that it was weird. I didn't feel like negatively toward it, but I thought that it was like cool. I don't know. It was distinct.
What are we talking about?
Wet Dry World.
Auras? I know we're talking about Wet Dry World, but the negative auras, no, I don't know anything about this.
Wet Dry World with the picture of that like city in Greece, and how it makes it look like it's all underwater, combined with the song and like the color palette and the underwater or like the underground city and all of that. People basically have made a creepypasta where it's like, oh, it's designed to be a negative, give off negative emotional auras or some bullshit like that.
I always thought that was so weird.
I've never heard about that in my life. I was thinking when you were just like talking about the adjusting the water levels, I'm just like, there's a conspiracy theory, and I thought you were going to talk about the fact that there's no water level hit, like there's no trigger that goes to the automatic top of the level. And as a kid, I was just like, this is bullshit. I don't know how to get into this goddamn cage to go down this hole. And
see, you're thinking way too objectively, said.
Yeah,
we're talking about hippy dippy negative emotional aura bullshit. So.
You're talking about the background picture, and I'm just like,
the background picture is so weird though in that area. It's just
thinking about it,
yeah.
It's just this weird, like realistic image for no reason.
Well, because it is a real image. Go
for
it. They took, I think, a real picture of a city in Greece. Then made it look like it was underwater and cut out some of the buildings and then made it like the city repeat all the way around.
See, that's what. Sorry to cut you off. That's one of those weird things that only that era of early 3D gaming can get away with.
Yeah,
because you couldn't just do that nowadays. Like, in the background of this Odyssey 2 level, we got this Greece. Like, you couldn't do that now. It's just so funny.
Like the Pumpkin Hill background.
Oh, what
that shit always terrified me. Have you never seen that?
I mean,
let me pull up a picture of that.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, like, if you think about any other background in Super Mario 64, like what other, just like you think about that one painting in Wet Dry World, everything else is like either blue sky or what? Like,
I think just like the void usually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that background. Like I that's what I was picturing. I had to make sure.
But one of my more relevant, very early gaming memories is when I would play Ocarina of Time. Sometimes my dad would watch me, and I would be rolling everywhere, and he would get pissed because he was tired of hearing Link go.
Dude, people get so annoyed with that. I think I tune that stuff out so easily.
Yeah,
but
that's the thing.
I would tell him like, "Dad, it's faster," and he'd be like, "No, it isn't. You go the same speed." And so I feel very vindicated by the fact that rolling is definitely fast.
Hey, no, dude, if it would have been so badass if your dad was just like, no, it's not faster, look at this, and he backwalked. Oh my god.
He would win the coolest dad award easily.
That would be so sick.
If he knew about backwalking, oh my god.
And he didn't have to hear it anymore.
Oh yeah, that's like the optimal speed and no annoying audio combo. Because like I think frame perfectly side hopping is faster, but it's still annoying. So
only as child, I believe.
You should tell your dad. You should tell your dad the story and tell your dad that he was in fact right, but he was wrong. You know?
Yeah. No, I've talked to him about it several times. Where I'm like, yeah, it is way faster than walking. But I haven't told him that if you were referring to back walking, you were right.
It's true.
First gaming memory. Nice. An hour and 10 minutes into the podcast.
See, I kind of like mixing up the format a little bit. That's nice.
No, I like that. It's great. I liked the hour-long smloader history into college stories for 20 minutes. That was good. I enjoyed it, for sure.
It would feel a little criminal to not talk about the funny stories we have, considering we were college roommates, and that's what probably most of his audience that would recognize me for would remember me for. I mean, unless it's the SpongeBob shit, which we also talked about, so we've covered all our bases.
Yeah,
there you go.
Where do we go next? We got first gaming memory. We know how you fell into speedrunning, how you met Trey. We already went through that.
Mm-hmm.
Do we just like jump into resume like right away, or?
It's either that or I could give a Steven Sausage update.
Steven Sausage update.
Okay,
Go.
So I'm playing a game, and I shit you not, I know your name is Steven. This game is called Steven's Sausage Roll.
Mm-hmm.
It's an actual game that exists. On Steam.
You're expecting Loader to just laugh.
I was expecting that's like the funniest thing you've heard all day, probably.
So I saw you like start playing that on Steam several times, and I honestly thought that you set it as like a custom status just to like be funny, so I would see it.
Yeah, I saw you playing Fall Guys. By the way, how's Fall Guys?
I've kind of become addicted to it again. Like, since the first season, I really hated the second season. But then, like,
because they added like 3 things to it.
Yeah, and all 3 of the things they added to it like sucked balls. but now they've added more and they've removed some of the bullshit and like polished up some of the other stuff. Like, excuse me, don't get me wrong, there's some aspects of it that I still hate. Like, Hexagon is the final game. That game barely works. I know that if you're like super sweaty, you can. There's like a strategy that actually works, but I always miss the
As
jump.
a person who hasn't played Fall Guys, Hexagon looks like the most fun game to me.
It should be, but then when you just
It
get
was
like
good.
railed because someone jumped down 3 layers below you, and the last tile that you're on only has void under it, and you die, it feels pretty bad.
Damn.
You
That's
gotta
so
look
sweaty.
around, dude.
Sometimes you look around and you're on the island of tiles that is only above the ocean.
See, what's funny is that I'm telling you this, and I probably have like 7 hours in the game, 10 hours in the game, probably, and you're just like, I'm sitting with, I don't know, 102, something like that. Is Fall Guys your like casual game? Like, what are you casually playing nowadays?
Casually, currently, it's
We've been very about casual gaming lately. We've been talking about speedrunning. We always talk about speedrunning, but like, I feel like season 2 has been more of like, oh, Trey's playing Steven Sausage Roll. I'm playing I don't know, whatever. But we're playing Back 4 Blood together. We're just playing a bunch of casual games and talking about them. So what are you playing casually?
I have been playing a lot of Fall Guys. I've been playing a lot of RuneScape 3, which I know people hate, and I have been playing an okay amount of Melee.
I didn't know that.
And but when I say okay amount, I mean like once a week, and we play doubles and like screw around as much as we can. I hate playing against random people in that game.
Do you still main Luigi now?
Yeah, but my most recent foray into a character is now Pichu, believe it or not.
Oh shit! So you're just going for the full BM.
I actually really like Pichu.
Hey,
it's not just for BM.
I feel the same way about Zelda.
Yeah.
Dude,
It's not about BM.
Sid Zelda's pretty sick, let me tell you.
I remember
think
playing against it and I got owned. I hate playing against Zelda.
Everyone does. I can only tolerate it because it's Sid.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of fun to just like avoid getting kicked nonstop.
That's the game.
That's the
It's
whole
avoid
game. Just
getting
don't get kicked.
Do you want to play Avoid Getting Kicked Simulator? Play as Zelda randomly online.
You can get hit by any of these other shitty moves. Just don't get kicked. All right.
you get neutral aired. You just get thrown like 2 feet. You
Yeah.
get kicked. You're off screen. It's like
The
Her
down
dash
smash
attack's
just
pretty
sends you
sick.
like 2 feet.
yeah. It's her dash attack, her kick, and then Din's fire is very fun to hit with. I don't know. It combos well.
But I do on this good lord. On this
What?
subject want to mention so like I don't know how many of you know about the game that I was actually a top player in that isn't Fetch Fruit.
I thought you were gonna say Fetch a Fruit.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I don't think I know. No.
It was Castlevania Harmony of Despair,
Oh, okay.
which was the multiplayer one on Xbox 360 and PS3. And
Is that the one with like the black-haired protagonist? Like, is it a 3D one? Or
no, it's
No.
so it's
I'll look it up.
Is there even a 3D Castlevania except for that one on N64?
yeah, they made like some
Narrative.
God of War type ones.
Oh,
on, like,
I didn't even
360.
know that. Okay.
But no, Harmony of Despair is a 2D one, and it's basically kind of like a Smash Bros type thing, where you can play as all of your favorite characters from all of the Metroidvanias.
Mhm.
And you can play with up to 6 people at a time on the same map. And instead of it being like an actual Metroidvania explore and progress thing, it's more of a like kind of a Monster Hunter type thing where you kill bosses to get loot and get better. And
So it's like a Metroidvania, except the stuff you get isn't required to progress; it just makes you better.
yeah.
Okay.
And so it was also the cool thing about the game is like there were like noob cheese strats for everything that would make boss fights really slow but really doable. But then there were like a shitload of advanced strats and like things that you could do to make boss fights go ridiculously fast. And
but those aren't cheese somehow.
No, they're not cheese. Like they're the
How do
complete
you
opposite of cheese.
How do you
How do
define?
you define cheese?
Yeah,
Okay.
what is cheese versus advanced strat? That
Let me-
also
let me-
is good.
Give you a perfect example here.
Okay.
So the boss of chapter 10 is Retro the Count. So Dracula, right?
Retro,
Because
what is it? The 80s. Retro the
Dracula.
Count. That's it.
and he's Retro the Count because like chapter 6 the boss is Dracula. So to separate them, so chapter 6 is taken from Order of Ecclesia, and chapter 10 is all of Castlevania 1 like stitched together into one map.
Oh, so this game is sort of like it takes stuff from other games, puts it together.
Yeah, so like
That's cool.
you can play as Simon Belmont from like Castlevania 1, or you can play as Jonathan from Portrait of Ruin, or you can play as Richter from Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, or you can play as Soma from Aria of Sorrow and all that.
Or Alucard.
Yeah, you can play as Alucard, Soma, Shanoa, Jonathan, Richter, Julius, like a shitload of people.
The gang's all here.
And so the levels are taken from like the quote unquote best areas of
I like the
all-
quote unquote.
well, some of them wait. No, they're all
As
pretty
ranked
good.
by the Castlevania community.
Some of them are shit.
They're all pretty good, but in my humble opinion, they would all be from Portrait of Ruin if they were all from the best areas.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah,
I think
they
Portrait of
couldn't-
Ruin is the best one.
They couldn't do that then.
So like chapter 9 is like samples of areas from Symphony of the Night, for example.
hmm
But yeah, so chapter 10, getting onto the cheese here,
Cheese me up.
is Retro Dracula, and one of his attacks is he stands in the middle of the room and does an attack where he sends out 3 fireballs like 120 degrees apart from each other, right?
Sure.
And then he rotates all 3 fireballs, let's say 5 degrees, and shoots another one. So, and like keeps doing that. So you have 3 like streams of fireballs that are all that are like trailing behind each other. You know?
So it's bullet hell.
Yeah. So it creates bullet hell, and so if you're playing as Soma, and you have the final guard, Guardian Soul, you can hold right bumper to become invincible, but you can't move, and it drains your mana really fast. So during that attack, if you're bad at avoiding it, you can just stand in the corner, wait for it to almost hit you, turn on final guard, you'll be invincible, you won't get hit, and then you just keep doing that. And also there's another soul with Soma, where if you capture the soul of a Medusa head, while you hold down the button, you can fly. Like, it's similar to the final guard in that you can't move, but your, like, vertical momentum is 0.
hmm
And, so there was one boss, Astarte, who is in chapter 7, and one of the first things she does is, she sends out hearts in a really hard to describe pattern. You know, like a club? Not a club, a spade on a,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
on a card. So like, imagine you cut the spade in half down the middle, and then you rotated one of the sides,
Yeah.
to be mirrored on the other side.
Uh-huh.
So you have one side pointing to the left and one side pointing to the right.
Okay.
This is a good mental image. Yeah.
And so then she is at the center, and so like one of the streams of hearts goes along the floor and one of them is a little higher in the air, but they also like cross over each other at certain points, so she covers like everything. But if you're directly above her head, none of them ever go there. So what people would do is they would dive kick on her head straight down, so they would bounce above her, and then just hold the Medusa soul until the attack was over. But if you were cool, there was a certain timing that you could slide under it or dive between the hearts.
hmm
And similarly with the Dracula fight, if you jumped up with the stream of fireballs, you could dive kick down between them when the next stream came. And like, if you did the cooler ways to do it, then you could keep attacking while you were avoiding it to do the fight like way faster. And
okay.
there was one where you pretty much had to pick Soma. Soma was like the meta character in this game. You had to pick Soma with the 2 strongest one-handed swords in the game, one in each hand. You had to max out your strength in every way possible, which included wearing the Berserker mail, which would double your damage, but would basically make it so you get killed in one hit by anything.
Sure.
And so, are you guys familiar with Beelzebub in Castlevania? Like the corpse hanging from hooks on the ceiling that just sends flies at you?
I'm only familiar with the Tenacious D song, so no.
Here, let me find a picture of him real quick.
That's gonna be a no for me.
See, no. The only thing I know about Castlevania, like you talking about Richter, I'm like, oh, I know who that is. And talking about what was the white-haired one that you mentioned, Trey? Like
Alucard.
Alucard. The only characters that I know, I'm just like, oh, I used to watch random Soten speedruns, and that's kind of it. So
I
that's
would
my
too,
entire
actually. Yeah,
Castle-
Soten speedruns are fun to watch.
So
that's the only thing I know.
you might recognize this then, because he is from Soten.
Oh, I think I've seen those. Yeah.
Oh.
So he doesn't move at all. He just sends his flies at you. And he sends like a shitload of flies per wave. And what you could do if you... And I was only one of like a single digit number of people I knew who could do this. Is if you had maxed out strength and you did a technique called double backdash canceling, which is where... so like your swords are on your X and your Y button, right?
Sure.
And so normal backdash canceling is like I would hit X and then backdash, which is left bumper, then down to crouch, which would cancel the backdash, and then let go of down and then attack again. So the backdash cancels the attack, the crouch cancels the backdash, and then you can attack again. But
Okay.
like they knew about that. So if you do it really, really fast, eventually you'll get like gated, and so it'll only register once every like 3 hits. But if you instead have another weapon and you use that one in between, then like the timers for each weapon are separated, and you wouldn't get damage gated. So if you did that technique really fast, swapping between X and Y with every hit, then you would be able to stand in front of the wave of flies and kill them before they touch you. And you had to hit
an advanced technique.
Yeah, and you had to hit every fly twice before it would die. And so you have the range of your sword combined with like the fly speed to hit them twice. Let me see if I can find a little video of it.
Okay. Sure.
So an advanced technique has to be like hard to execute, whereas cheese is just like, oh, sit in the corner and do a fucking thing.
Yeah. So like the cheese on this chapter that you would fight that boss is there's a certain platform that you can just crouch on, and none of the fly paths like ever actually hit you.
Okay, yeah, I think I get the key distinction here now.
Okay. So we're defining...
Cheese is typically safer, but like a lot slower and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, and like anybody can do it.
Yeah, just like no, it's just all about like knowing it versus an advanced strat. You gotta actually like practice the whatever technique for it. So.
Yeah.
It actually looks like the video I just sent you. They're actively partaking in cheese, and you might not get to see what I'm talking about.
Oh no, they're scummy cheesers. No.
Yeah, they're cheesing.
They're cheesing.
If you look, or wait, no, you can see it at 3:15. The wave of flies I'm talking about. But
I see the flies.
The main player that it's focusing on, see how he's just floating there, beating the shit out of the boss forever?
Mm-hmm.
That's cheese. And it was like widely frowned upon. But that wave of flies that comes at them before, what I would do is stand on the ground and hit every single one of those twice before it would touch me.
Oh wow, that is because they're moving fast.
Prowess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was basically like a big dick club of like, if you do it the cool way, then you're cool.
Yeah.
But also it was usually faster if you did those sorts of avoidance things, but then you would usually use the cheese kill method like the Soma in the video is doing, where you just float there and hit it forever.
So, okay, you were one of the top people in this game, and what was the goal? Just speed purely, or was there other stuff as well?
It was like, the goals were either to go fast or to be like more technically advanced than all of the other people you were playing with.
So that's like a subjective thing, sort of?
Kind of. But there were like orders of magnitude of things that you could do. So like one of the really popular characters among the advanced players is Julius, because you can input a command, which I think was forward, back, and then half circle back to forward, and then your attack button, and that would make you like teleport forward a little bit, but you would also turn around. And so what people would do is they would do that input, and then if they were really good, they would not have to whip to cancel it. They would just do the input again with the right timing, and like crouch in between. And then the whole time they were doing it, they would bring up chat options and say stuff. So like if you press back, and then I think it was the left stick, which would be the one you would be using for the commands, you could select like commands if you weren't in voice chat with the people you were playing with. You could say like here, or thank you, or good job, or take this.
Take this.
And so it was like extra flex if you could do really fast omnia canceling where you don't whip and you're throwing your sub weapons and you're inputting chat options all at the same time. And some people could do it.
So yeah, it's like a swag competition thing in a way.
Yeah. And killing the flies was one of the really swaggy things to do.
That's the thing, is like we always had this theory, this idea cooked up for Sunshine, like a free running in Delfino Plaza competition.
Oh yeah.
I still think like or maybe just free run anywhere. That kind of competition can be, because there's so many movement options in that game. Maybe not as technical as a 2D Castlevania could be, but Sunshine could definitely have that kind of thing.
I remember that the I remember Paper Ario at some point tweeting like, dude, the movement in Sunshine is so sexy, and like specifically the word sexy in like 2016 or something. And I'm just like, I think the sexiest thing you can do is like defining what sexy is in Super Mario Sunshine. It's like a GWKD, what was it? A GWKD, and that's it. Like, it's just a GWKD. Like, I can't even remember why I said it. I remember
it used to be it's pretty easy nowadays by today's standards, but like, I remember Cathlon and Kenny Colo, I think it was a huge deal to, from a ledge grab, do a slide down into glitchy wall kick dive.
Yeah, that sounds
like that was like, oh
better.
man, if you do a GWKD from a ledge grab, you're so sick. It's not even that hard nowadays, but like, yeah, it's
yeah. There's definitely swaggy things you could do within the Delfino Plaza, but yeah, sorry.
So like when I think about what Sunshine inputs would be for that kind of thing, like where you guys are going and what you are doing would probably look more flashy than what would be happening in the Castlevania game. But like the amount of inputs to do it well and to be sexy and swaggy, it was like probably pretty similar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like your APM is probably higher, but ours would be more. I think ours would be more like creativity. You know, maybe you bounce from this NPC to that NPC, random shit like that.
I should say, or sorry.
Like not even talking just like from a technical aspect, just like which movement looks the most aesthetically pleasing, which may not be the most technical. It just kind of depends. Yeah. So
I should say too, though, that in going fast, there was like an art to it, and like some of the things you had to do to go fast were very analog. Like, so this game had an acceleration glitch, which is one of my favorite speedrun glitches in like anything ever.
Does it involve negative speed?
Yes.
That's what it's always like, oh, they didn't cap negative speed, so it can just fucking go crazy.
So what would happen is you can do dive kicks after you've used your double jump. So like if you double jump and then you hold down or like down diagonal, then you can do a dive kick if you hit A again. And for some reason, there's this really weird thing in the game where like there's a range of stick values that don't make you move, especially if you're holding up. And so if you hold up where you hold like north by northeast, and then you hold the controller in such a way that you can still double jump and hit down on the D-pad to do a dive kick, then you would do a dive kick at like an 85 degree angle instead of a 45 degree angle if you held like straight down right.
Okay.
And so you could use that. So like the principle of the acceleration glitch itself was if you could get the landing lag of a long distance dive kick where you like incur extra landing lag to end at the same time you slide off of an edge and you jump as soon as that happens, then for some reason you would go backwards and up like forever. And so what you would do is like at the beginning of chapter 10, which is one of the most widely played chapters, there was a like a wall that's right behind you, just like at the beginning of normal Castlevania. But with certain characters, you could just get up there. And then the way they had to arrange the level to make all of Castlevania 1 fit into one screen is Dracula's throne room is right above the start. So then you would do that acceleration glitch on the corner of that wall, but the wall wasn't wide enough for you to do a full dive kick. So you had to do one of these analog, like 85 to 75 degree angle dive kicks. And then you would go up the wall until you hit the corner of where the floor of Dracula's throne room and the invisible wall of the boundary met. And then you would like swirl around for a little bit because the game couldn't figure out what to do. And then eventually it would clip you into the floor, which would try to zip you out of bounds. But if you slide kicked opposite the zip, it would push you in the other direction until you could get into the room before Dracula, and then you would be able to jump up through the floor and just fight him.
Huh.
And there were a bunch of like other ways to do it, and there were some that only short characters could do, and there were some that you would only be able to do if you dive kicked at the exact same time that you clipped into the like actual ceiling. Because when you clip into the ceiling, if you dive kicked at the right time, it would push you like massively away, which could get you into certain boss rooms. And so it was all like very finesse based, and there were no like guides on how to do any of it, which was really cool because when I would play with the other people who knew what they were doing, it was all just like word of mouth. Like there were no videos and guides on how to do it.
It's cool to not have resources for stuff.
Well, yeah. it was
yeah,
cool.
You know what? The Sunshine Spirit community, we should just delete all our tutorials. Just you got to figure it out yourself. Right?
It was cool because like there weren't very many people that played the game that way.
Right.
So then when I like made my way into those people, then to just learn from them and be able to teach other people how to do it was cool. Because there wasn't a scene for the game.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Castlevania, so are there not going to be any more that's Konami, right?
Yeah.
And Konami, they just like quit video game making, correct?
No.
They didn't? I thought like Konami quit making stuff.
No, but they did fire Koji Igarashi, who is the like creator.
See, I was under the impression that Konami fully focused on like pachinko machines and stuff now.
Mm-mm. They still make... Sorry, Sid, what were you going to say?
Go for it.
They still make like Yu-Gi-Oh! And they still... I think they are more of a publisher now than like a creative studio.
Okay, so like Castlevania's be made by like a different studio and stuff now?
But they own Castlevania because they were the creative studio. So like, they fired the guy who made it. but they still own the rights to it. So that's what Bloodstained is.
Yeah, Bloodstained, yeah.
Is the creator left and like made his own. But I think it's weird because it's a 2D game with 3D art. None of it feels right.
Is it like Curse of the what was it? Curse of the Moon or whatever? Also something I can't remember what exactly the game name was, but it's a 2D art style Castlevania that came out before Bloodstained, and it was like during the Kickstarter. Stuff like that. When Trey was saying speaking of Konami, speaking of Castlevania, I was like, and my thought was they should really have slide kicks in more games. Because when you were talking about slide kicking and like, I think of Richter doing the slide kick for the movement during the Soten speedruns, and I'm just like, man, slide kicking is cool.
that just really seems like such an easy shortcut to having cool movement in a video game,
right?
I'm surprised. Like, I'm sure several indie developers might implement that in their games, but I don't know.
And in all that out of bounds, like zipping shit I was talking about, Richter is actually one of the most powerful characters because he has like the jump kick out of the slide kick where he like pushes off the ground and does that jump,
Yeah. Richter has like all kinds of movement options in Soten.
Because that would actually push you up in like the wall or the ceiling you were in that game. So some of the glitches were like only achievable by Richter, because then after you were out of bounds, you could like arbitrarily go up with the slide kick, because it like locks you into a crouched state, but you can still do that from that.
Like, I was just thinking of mundane movement, or not even mundane movement, just like cool, fast movement, where like your dad was complaining about the rolling in Ocarina of Time, but in Soten with the slide kicks. And I'm thinking back to earlier today where I'm playing Super Mario Odyssey, and I'm just like, fuck, rolling is so stupid.
I gotta shake my Joy-Con.
I just gotta shake my goddamn Joy-Cons. I'd rather just like hold L. I don't even know what the inputs are for slide kick, but I imagine like it's like a crouch stab or something, where it's just like a crouch kick or whatever. But it, like, I just want to hold L and then mash A every so often. I don't want to shake my goddamn controllers anymore. Please.
Also, speaking of Richter movement, especially in Symphony of the Night, it's all so cool because, like, you know how if you enter Richter as your name, you can play in Richter mode?
Yeah.
Like, the only way you can beat Richter mode is by flying using his command inputs. So, like, if you tackle...
I've seen a Richter speedrun. It's like 5 minutes long or something.
Yeah. And
because you can just like fly everywhere.
all of those inputs to do those that accurately and well, especially with Soten's input engine, are really hard.
They make it look easy, but I'm sure it's not.
Loader, are you a massive Castlevania fan?
Not a massive one, but several of my favorite games, like, period, are Castlevania games.
You're more of a modern, like, you don't really play the NES ones, really. It's more like the modern stuff.
So, I should say, I lean more toward massive Castlevania fan than not. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I was just like,
sure.
most, you know what, if I made a top 10 list, I don't know, 3 of them would be there. I was just like, yeah, I think that considers you...
But no, I'm not a fan, per se.
I wouldn't define myself
I wouldn't go
fan.
that far.
Mostly, a lot of what I like about Castlevania is, like, the fact that they don't need to make, like, the art and the music and the animations all as beautiful as they are, but they choose to anyway.
Nice.
And I
Good on
like
them.
that does a lot for me in terms of how much I like a game.
Just effort put in.
Yeah, because then it doesn't feel like, oh, hey guys, Konami HQ here, we need you to make another game. It feels like someone was like, hey, I have an idea for a game. And then they, like, it feels like it has more passion put into it when it's like, you can tell that the artists tried. Instead of like, I guess we have to draw this thing now.
See, and the thing is, I wouldn't even necessarily say that passion is dying per se in AAA development now. It's more so the big AAA companies are expected to put games out more frequently, like, oh, they got to have your annual release. That they're under so much of a time crunch, it comes out kind of buggy and like not super polished. But like, I'm sure if they took a more old school approach to their development and really put time into it, you would see that passion come out a little bit more. It's just, I don't know, the companies are like squeezing these developers dry almost, and I think AAA gaming is it's going to take some term in the near future because like this whole last year, like Cyberpunk, the new Battlefield, like all this stuff has been coming out super buggy. And I'm sure eventually people are going to be like, enough is enough. Put some quality stuff out, then we'll think about buying it. So
I have a hot take on this.
Ooh.
I actually think that the lack of hardware limitations on developers is stifling their creativity.
That's actually like a really, I've heard that point before, yeah.
Because, like, when you get the new Call of Duty game and they put the world's biggest fucking textures in it for everything that are all like 16,000 by 16,000 and it's unoptimized as fuck, so it's 178 gigabytes when you download it, and it only barely runs at 176 degrees Celsius on the greatest rig in the whole world. Like, yes, it technically works. Yes, it's technically shippable, but like, it doesn't need to be that shitty. And
that's the thing is that like they have to make it look really nice for the trailers and stuff, but then when you actually in practice have to make the whole game look that nice, that's not going to happen, and you got to like cut corners and
yeah.
But I also think there's something to be said for like the game looking quote nice, where I think genuinely I would say 95% of the Castlevania games look better than
and a lot of it is just sprite work, right?
Yeah, well, the Castlevania games that I really like is 100% sprite work.
Yeah.
Well, that's why like Bloodstained was 2.5 dimensions or whatever with 3D art and everything.
It's melee.
Yeah, it's melee because like sprite work was so expensive, and they were just like, well, the corner that we're gonna cut is the sprite work, and everybody's just like, but we want it, and then it's just like, but it's gonna be so much more expensive because nowadays or back then it was not. I don't know if it was less expensive, but it was just not you couldn't do the 3D, but now it's just like so.
That's why like
accessible
SNES games age so beautifully because it's just really nice looking sprites.
Yeah. And
exactly.
like because they literally had to do that. That's why like so many advancements in sprite animation were made, because they had to work with sprites and eventually they made it beautiful.
It only helps your argument.
Yeah.
But you know the old saying, pressure makes diamonds, where it's just like if you're condensed in whatever, like you have to make something for the GameCube. It's like, I don't, like, what the fuck? Okay, let's do cell shading. Let's put Link on a boat and fuck it. Let's just figure it all out within this. Like, we have to put it on this tiny disc.
That's actually, with your theory loader, that might be part of why. Well, I mean, it's not always 100% of the time bangers, but Nintendo still puts out bangers, given that they have more hardware. They're more limited in their hardware than all these other companies are, because like the Switch can only handle so much.
Well, and the PS3 had like a lot of bangers too, but that was because it was like, wow, fuck, what was their system? It was like
the PS Triple.
I can't remember what the core was. It was like it's like Cell Core. It starts with a C.
I don't remember.
But it was just like a dip. Pardon me?
Dick hole?
Oh, yeah.
The dick hole core, yes.
They had the dick hole core. And, but it was just, their system wasn't very well, developers couldn't really develop for the PlayStation 3, or it was very hard to, but like, I guess it was amongst the same ilk as like, oh, we have to put out this Call of Duty on the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, and the Wii. It's like, fuck. It's like, what are we gonna do with the fucking Wii? And it's like, we have to put it out though. But yeah, I remember it was like a cell core. I can't remember what exactly it was, but yeah.
Well,
there was some sort of constriction.
You know the old argument that basically nobody talks about anymore, where it's like, are video games art?
Yeah. Where
I always thought the answer was duh. And it feels 100%. Like to me more and more that the opposite end of the argument is gaining more credence, because people are like so shoehorned into getting this thing done now. They physically don't have time to be like, ooh, wouldn't this little gameplay quirk or this little piece of music here or this piece of art here, wouldn't that be nice? They're like, I need to make sure that the engine doesn't crash every time you launch it in the next 2 weeks.
You know, I've heard conspiracy theories, and I doubt it's going to be nearly as big as, like the video game crash of 1983 with Atari's ET and stuff. There could be like a similar, smaller event within like the top gaming studios because of all their business practices. But like, that's never going to happen because like mobile gaming is so big. Gaming is such like a massively bigger thing than it was in 1983, obviously. That like only maybe just like the small subset that is these AAA studios might suffer at some point. But even then, like new stuff will crop up and like the same indie developers aren't going to stop. And like, I'm sure like some paradigm shift will happen at some point where like the rushed annual stuff might stop at some point, but who knows?
God, I hope so.
Are we just talking about like just releasing games broken?
Like,
Yeah, just being okay. And like, because obviously customers still buy it for some reason, even some of them full knowing that, oh, it's going to suck on release. You got to wait 6 months for the actual game, probably.
So the studio doesn't have to do anything about it because everybody still buys it.
Yeah, stop buying it, people. Just stop. Stop doing it.
I don't know. I feel like Trey and I are definitely part of a subsect. I don't know if you are too, Loader, but we don't buy new like single player game or like even we don't buy things right away. Like
No, I don't
except for
either.
Back for Blood's the exception.
well, like we did pre-order it, but we didn't play it until a month after.
That's true. Yeah.
But like I don't think anything about Back for Blood was like released broken or anything like that. But I know that like I'm very apprehensive when it comes to, oh, this is a new release, everybody's really excited. Like Elden Ring, I know you're going to buy probably day one or
And that's the thing is Elden Ring has actually had like top influencers of the Souls series and stuff have actually played like the demo or beta or whatever of it.
Yeah.
And they've confirmed that it's actually like a really good, challenging game.
They were also paid to say that.
You know, it's possible, but when it comes out and I think it's not fun, I'll just sue them.
Well, because like every single new game that gets released, like all of their trailers, whenever I'm forced to see them say like how they have 9 and 10 out of 10 reviews from like 456 billion different platforms, or like Shroud being like, "Oh, I beat my dick to this game 400 times a day," and it's like, yeah, he may have said that, but you also like paid him to play it on his stream.
I like. Did you intentionally use the quantity of money from Squid Game when you said that?
What,
you said 456 billion or something.
I think the quantity of money in Squid Game is 420.
No, it's 56.
It is?
Yeah, it's
I remember distinctly.
I've always said 456 billion as long as I've like been alive.
Do you think that watching Squid Game has prepped you for your South Korea move?
No.
Have you watched Squid Game?
Yes.
Okay.
Because everyone has. I knew he did because everyone has.
Well, you need to bond with the kids somehow, you know? And that's the only way that
just be like, hey, you seen Squid Game, kids?
That's what you say.
That's what you bought?
And then they respond in Korean and you say, get out.
Gotcha. That was a trick.
That was bait. Bait.
You ask them in Korean, so it baits them into answering in Korean. Like, oh, sorry, I'm the teacher. I can do that. You guys can't do that.
Yeah, then I immediately say that was the first test. And you failed.
You failed. You just failed the whole first grade class.
No. You're asking the class, and then the doll turns around and shoots everybody that gets baited.
The doll just like comes from like the projector. Like, what the fuck?
It's just like,
what is this room?
Red light. You guys don't know the first rule of Squid Game. Red light. When it comes to English, red light. That was your first. Or when it comes to Korean, it's a red light.
That's your first lesson.
That's your first lesson.
But yeah, you want a job at Gaming Inc., Loader?
What?
Well, let me tell you. Listen up here. All right, so maybe you don't want to do your teaching English job, and instead, let's say that theoretically, for example, all right, you're wearing a nice suit. You're taking a stroll down memory lane.
Damn, I look good.
Any lane for that matter. And you walk into a nice building, a nice tall building. You are ready to go. You got your clear plastic case for all your papers that you have, whatever.
Yeah.
You have a plastic briefcase that's see-through.
Yeah, so everyone can spy on your shit. You go up. It's a nice marble building. You go up the elevator to the top floor and the 28th floor because it's the episode we're on. Anyway, and you walk into the room.
I like that.
And there's a table across this large room from you as you walk in. And at that table on this fateful day is none other than, I don't know, Red Moss. So you're going to be interviewed by Red Moss himself, the Guitar Hero SpongeBob legend.
Yeah.
But before the interview can take place for this Gaming Inc. job, you got to hand him your resume, but not just any old boring resume. This is your gaming resume, full of your greatest gaming achievements.
Okay.
What goes on that resume?
Jeez. Okay.
Red Moss is waiting.
So, first
Well, it's
ever...
already prepared.
Yeah, I know. Wait, I got to think of this resume on the spot.
He's waiting for you to write your resume.
In crayon, just like, God, hurry up.
It's the Men in Black starting where everybody's just sitting in those awkward chairs, and Will Smith is the only person brave enough to go grab the table and drag it towards him. Sorry, continue.
That's hot.
One of my earliest ones was in a MapleStory private server. I made friends with the mods and got a GM hat, which you're only supposed to have if you're a moderator.
A Grandmaster hat?
It stands for game moderator in this.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking.
A Grand Bastard hat.
That was one of the earliest ones. The next one is probably getting... I think somehow I got Recon in Halo 3, and I also got the Katana in Halo 3.
What does that entail you doing to get that?
I think you have to get, like, every achievement.
Okay.
I don't remember how you get Recon. I think I might have played with a Bungie employee or something.
What? That's crazy.
Well, actually, I don't remember if I ever got Recon, but I tried extensively to cheat.
So you never give up in your effort to cheat for something. Very good.
Yeah.
Write
Well,
that down.
I actually think that as long as it's not...
Special skill.
As long as it's not, like, for the purpose of saying that you're, like, better than someone else, I think that cheating in games is both very cool and that you can learn, like, a lot by doing it. Like,
well, yeah, in single player, it doesn't even matter.
Well, but
It's just the game itself.
With Borderlands 1, I was, like, heavily into save
you
editing.
played Borderlands 1?
Yeah. Borderlands
Okay.
1 I think is actually my favorite Borderlands game.
Oh my god, I should have played it when I got it for free with my controller.
You said that you weren't a fan of 3, right?
I hate Borderlands 3. So, okay, can we divert from my resume
Sure,
for a second?
go ahead, yeah.
Earlier, when you were talking
back
about
later.
how you and Sid are part of a sect that, like, doesn't buy things immediately, Borderlands 3 was, like, the end-all, be-all of that for me. So, like,
Dude, I did that with Dead Space 3. Sorry.
I bought Borderlands 3 instantly. Super excited to play it. I loved Borderlands 1 and 2. And Borderlands 3 is easily one of the worst games I have ever played.
Oh.
What's
And,
the
like,
key thing that makes it so much worse than the other ones?
So, like, it feels like they missed the point of what their own game was about. Like, the loot in it, none of the guns are, like, fun or wacky. They all feel like they're designed to be balanced somehow. All of the classes feel uninspired and, like, loosely rip-offs of the other games. All of the humor was dry. The game performed horribly on my computer that was more than qualified to run it.
That's what I was just like, performed horribly. I'm like, okay, it's either 2 out of 5 stars or on his computer.
It was also, like, huge file size. All of the, like, rendering looked bad and grainy for some reason. Like, it was a glitched up mess, and they actively removed the most fun ways and the best ways to get things. And, like,
Damn.
and every patch they released, they, like, ruined the most fun weapon in the game, like, systematically one after the other. So, like, they would ruin one, then another weapon would become the most fun. Then they would ruin it, then they would ruin the next one. And, like, people have tried to tell me, oh, it's better since then, but like they can't like spit in my face that many times and expect me to come back just because like they finally made one correct decision.
But it's
Cyberpunk is better than when it first came out. It's like, yeah, any game could say that. But the point is that it should be good from the get-go. They can't just keep getting away with this.
Fuck, what's the one game that everybody's saying it's better than it was 3 years ago?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky.
Okay,
that
imagine I just said No Man's Sky.
That was like a legit success story, though, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Supposedly, I have no idea if it's
me neither. No, never played it, never will.
Nope.
But like my avoidance of social media and all that also extends to avoiding promotional material for shit that's coming out. Because like especially with my loose study of like advertising and marketing, because my degree is in communications and public relations, which I guess is 2 degrees, soft flex. And
that's good for your resume as well.
Yeah, put that one on the resume.
The real resume.
My like obviously I know what advertising is for, and I know like how predatory it can get, because if your product sucks, you're not going to say that. You're still going to advertise it to be the greatest thing ever.
This
and
product
like
sucks, yo.
I've seen my friends like fall victim to marketing so many times where like Trey, you know Cody, right? Sid, I think you might too.
Yeah.
Cody?
Yeah.
I can extrapolate somebody named Cody. Okay, I'm imagining somebody named Cody. Dope.
Well, so like when Fortnite came out years and years ago, when it was supposed to be a paid-for single-player experience.
Oh yeah.
Cody was like, well, I don't want to get too into this game because I know as soon as Fortnite comes out, that's all I'm going to be playing. Then he started playing Fortnite, and I tried to play it with him, and it sucked like massive donkey dick. And because like I kind of fell into the marketing hype with him, but like I've seen that sort of thing happen so many times where they get so excited for this thing that's coming out, they get on the hype train, they watch E3, they're like, oh yeah, that game looks good, and then it comes out and it's like the next piece of mediocre garbage.
That was me with the new Mario Golf.
Yeah.
I tried so hard to justify that purchase, but no.
And like
Nick All-Stars.
Yeah, well, Nick All-Stars was cool for a little bit.
I'm glad I avoided that.
But it was like, I think that the defensive options in Nick All-Stars are not good enough.
Okay. Do you play it?
I did for a while.
Okay.
And then I got like, Nick All-Stars is the epitome of like, find the one extremely broken option and do only that and you'll
Yeah.
Yeah, from any highlight video I've seen, it's just like Aang spamming the same aerial over and over again and then just like down airing him. And then it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I've seen this like 5 times already. The game's like brand new.
They designed it in a way where Nair is always supposed to be used for comboing. Up air is supposed to be used for juggling, which doesn't matter because every character's like options in the air are so good that you basically never juggle them anyway. Down air is designed for spiking, and then there is no back air. So all you get is nair, 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 down air, down air, down air.
Damn. Sounds lame.
But, so yeah, I was super excited for Borderlands 3, and then had my heart broken, and now I don't have anything to do with that shit anymore.
Pog.
Like, I need to see that people have played something, that it isn't a miserable excuse for what it's supposed to be, and then I need to see it's worth my time, and then I'll play it.
Cool.
How did this translate to your resume again?
It was Borderlands 1.
Out of my resume because we were talking about Borderlands, and I remembered a point I wanted to make earlier.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was cheating in Borderlands 1 a lot, and I actually learned a shitload about how their weapon generation system within the game worked, which was really cool. And like I wouldn't have learned anything about that had I not cheated. And like, because at a certain point when Borderlands first came out, you could cheat like massively, and it was really funny because you every weapon has like 12 part slots on it, and so you could just put like the barrel to Sledge's shotgun on a weapon 12 times, and that would give it a burst fire count of like infinity. And,
Jesus Christ.
It would also like for every Sledge's shotgun barrel you added to it, it would increase the knockback by like 500% or something.
It was exponential.
Yeah. So what you could do then is you could start a duel with your friend with one of those weapons. And you also set the quality and the level of the weapon as low as it'll go, so it deals like no damage. And then they jump above you and you shoot them with that shotgun, and they fly like way, way, way out of bounds. And
that sounds fun.
But eventually they added sanity checks for shit like that, to where you had to have a barrel in the barrel slot, a sight in the sight slot, and that sort of thing. But there was a way that you could get around that with if you set the weapon type as a Scorpio turret, which is what the soldier class had as his like action skill. So if you set your weapon to a Scorpio turret and you like delete the manufacturer, you could get by some sanity checks. So then you could have the best parts across all of the manufacturers all on one gun. And then you could set the title and prefix to whatever. And so, like, that could either be funny stuff, like you could name it the Angry Bitch or something. Or, most times people would name something...
That is quite funny.
Anarchy. Because, each time you added the Anarchy title, it would add an extra projectile to every time you shot. So if you had an Anarchy, it would seem like it should be 3, but it would always shoot 4 projectiles.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, learning how the game would generate native weapons and, like, the sanity checks that it would do on those, and then how you could avoid those to create, like, the ultimate weapons within the game, like, within the confines of what the game will still accept without, like, massively cheating. It was really cool. And, like, I wouldn't have learned any of that, and how, like, the randomness of weapon generation and loot worked without cheating. So I will include cheating on my resume.
Nice.
Because
all that cool shit was gone from Borderlands 3.
Yeah. Seriously, like, big time gone.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically, now I want to talk about that, because knowing how the weapon generation worked in 1 and how cool it was and like the results you could get from that made how the weapon generation worked in 2 and to a much greater extent 3 seem like the most boring thing in the world. Cause like so 2 like fixed a lot more parts in place, and then 3 fixed like a shitload of parts in place. So like while the advertisements for the game would say 6 billion different guns, A, that wasn't even remotely accurate, and B, like, a lot of, you could never get guns that had cool effects, because certain guns would have the parts that would give them cool effects locked from ever appearing on them in the first place. And that happened, like, all the time.
And that doesn't really sound like that much, given, like, how many combinations of things there could be.
You would think so, but it like, while it doesn't sound like that much on paper, in practice, when you can't get, like, a really ridiculous shotgun that deals 10 times the amount of damage that it usually would, but it has less ammo, and it also deals lightning element anymore, and you just get, like, the same shotgun, but it does 5% more damage.
Oh,
like,
I see what you mean, like, barely even
feels,
changing stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So while it's technically a variant, like, the variance is much lower.
Yo, we got 5%, we got 10%, we got 12%. Yo, so many different guns.
I also used to do a lot of cheating with the cheat engine on Flash games, and I learned a lot.
Oh, I did that
too.
Occasionally as well. I wasn't very good at it though. So yeah, good cheater. Let's write that down.
Write that down.
Then I think after that is probably
Fetch a Fruit, obviously.
Yeah, Fetch a Fruit, World's First 52, 1 point category dominator. But but then crushed by the Zoomers.
Damn Zoomers.
Castlevania HD becoming as good as at it as I was. Honestly, if not for that game, like, I don't think any of you would know me, because I would not be into that sort of thing in gaming, and so I wouldn't care about speedrunning and swag and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
That game taught you swag.
It really did. In terms of like how an input should feel in a good game, that game definitely taught me.
Right.
I won a couple of Melee locals.
Okay.
And I was like fucking around basically the whole time. And going off of Melee, I know how to play every character on the roster, and I think kind of other than like Mewtwo. But fuck Mewtwo.
You know how to play Yoshi?
Vaguely.
Yoshi seems weird as hell.
I know what I should do, but it's really hard to like keep track of when I should and should not double jump. Like, Amsa makes it look like every time he gets hit, he just happens to be double jumping. But like, if you do your double jump at the wrong time, you lose armor at like 70 and just die. So like, him living to like 210% like he does is insane. And it's not just free for Yoshi. Like, his defensive options are bananas.
It's free against computers, but yeah, against humans, probably not.
And what other achievements do I have? I guess getting Fetch-a-Fruit to have like 300 players or whatever.
To have a following. That's crazy.
I know I didn't do that all alone, but I feel like I spearheaded
you definitely... All of us cultivated the meme. Like, I had that video about it. Like,
ZFG
brought it to more people. ZFG.
Yeah. I definitely strong-armed ZFG into playing it, though.
Yeah, we all did at GDQ. Like, you had to play this game, ZFG.
We're like,
it's
hey,
so
ZFG, I'm the Fetch-a-Fruit guy. You're playing it now.
And hey, I'm the guy that you raid all the time. So, and I advocate for this game as well. So you gotta try it. Yeah, I think that was a pretty good list. And then I guess we also have like a second follow-up of like what your special skill is. You said cheating.
Cheating, yeah.
Which is always a good skill.
Cheating and...
learning from the cheating.
Yeah.
Cheating and learning from the cheating is definitely, like, that's definitely a skill. For sure. Being able to learn from what you, like, took advantage of within the game, yes.
But then it's like, it could be argued that it was a bad thing because it made me really hate Borderlands 3. From the cheating I did in the first game.
You red pilled yourself enough to realize it was a bad game.
But I guess my special skill outside of cheating would be like remembering that games are for fun. So like,
ooh.
That's a tough one because I hate myself when I'm playing games all the time.
So like, I used to be really like sweaty and angry over like Call of Duty when I played it when I was like 14 on the Xbox and all that shit. But I realized like how destructive that was for me, and then I just started playing.
Personally, I realized it when Mr. Hyrule Gamer pointed it out. I was like, damn, I am angry all the time. This guy's right.
That was the true point of epiphany for me too. I was like, you know what? Maybe I am a virgin loser. But like, so I realized how bad that was, and then I thought about, or I just started playing in a way that I thought was fun. So like, I stopped using the super meta gun, and instead like, you remember the Model 1887 in Modern Warfare 2? How you could kill people from like 4 miles away with them? I
don't remember that many guns except for like the FAMAS. The FAMAS was my go-to.
The FAMAS.
The 1887 FAMAS was the lever action shotgun that you could dual wield.
Yeah, I figured it was a shotgun, yeah.
Well, it was amazing in Modern Warfare 2, and it was like dog shit in Modern Warfare 3. But like, I used it in Modern Warfare 3 and had fun with it, and everyone was like, "What's wrong with you? That gun sucks." But I feel like I was having more fun than everyone else.
What's wrong with you? That gun sucks.
And so like, I've carried that mentality over to every other like competitive game that I play.
Hence
So like
Pichu in Melee.
yeah, hence Pichu for all of you that have been listening for that long. So like in Overwatch that I played for a long time, like as much as I did get pretty good at it at one point, like I realized that I was losing sight of actually having fun. Back when we could play 6 Torbjorns, like that was way more fun than when I was
Oh, dude, the 6 Tracers. Oh my god.
than when I was like playing Pharah and getting like my dick ridden by the Mercy with damage boost all the time, and like if I didn't get gold damage, like I was a failure. I was like, maybe I shouldn't be playing this anymore. But then, yeah, especially with Melee, like I do know how to play Fox and Marth and Sheik and all that, but even when I played them, I like playing them because they have so many more options to do things that are cool. It's like, if I just knock you off the same way and roll up the edge, like, am I even playing a game? Or am I just, like, trying to crush you under my foot?
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate that perspective, considering pretty much all the characters I play with Trey, whenever we do play, and it hasn't been recent, it's like Roy, Zelda, and just basically whatever I feel like in the moment. Whenever I play Marth, I'm just kind of like, eh. And like whenever
many times with Zelda, you could just go out and kick me, or go for the super swaggy dense fire kill.
There we go.
Those are your options.
Hey, sometimes it works. Let's go.
It does work. As much as I hate to admit it, and every time he hits it, he cackles with glee.
I do.
But
cackle.
I have been hit by the dense fire from time to time. So.
I've been known to cackle.
You know what the ultimate swag edgeguard is?
What?
Is on all of the stages that have walls that angle in from the edge.
Oh, like Yoshi's Story?
No. Like, Yoshi's Story is one that actually really doesn't. How the Dreamland pineapple goes in toward the middle.
Yeah, yeah, below the stage, yeah.
Is what you do is you do the, like, Luigi fireball momentum conservation, but you do the fireball at the right time, so it hits that wall and deflects at, like, a 45-degree angle down.
Oh, damn, that's beyond my level of comprehension. Oh,
the only time I've really gotten it to work, I ended up missing the follow-up and my opponent just lived, but I felt so good for hitting that fireball.
Nice.
Well,
yeah.
Oh, but here's the Sidwell coming out.
Hey, okay, so we've been recording for 2 hours and 12 minutes.
It's been a longin'.
It's been a longin'. We have, you know what, Loader?
Yeah.
This has been a swell time.
Thank you. I agree.
I had a grand old time.
I haven't talked to you in years, and it's been nice just listening. Talking. It's been nice hanging out with the two of you.
Yeah.
Because not since you were roommates with Trey, or like just thereafter, have we really interacted. So it's been a great time having you on. And
thank you.
Trey, would you like to wrap us up, considering we're pretty much at the end of the recording nth?
Sure thing. Well, Loader, thanks for coming on. Good luck in South Korea with the teaching and whatnot.
And the Squid Games.
Yeah.
And all the Squid Games that go on there all the time.
Yep.
Well, if you enjoyed the podcast, we're on Spotify and Google Podcasts, and the YouTube channel Sid and Trey. And it's been episode 28 of Video Games Are Hard. Have a good day or night. Actually, have a Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
It's 2022. This is going to be my year this year. Last year, didn't do shit. This year, though. Boom.
I'm moving to Korea.
We're all moving to Korea next year.
Woo!
It's going to be legendary.
And let us not forget, my motivations for liking RS3 over old school will remain a mystery.
Ooh. Maybe when we get you in 5 years from now, we'll finally learn the reasoning there.
Yeah, maybe.
See you next week, everybody.
Peace, everyone.